What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of the Rick Show. I am so sorry for the delay, but we are here, and that's all that matters. So if you don't know who I am, and if you don't know who I am, that means you are not subscribed. So make sure you're hitting the subscribe button. But I'm just gonna hop in today's episode. Let's give a warm welcome to Martin Stone.
Okay, everybody, I'm going to apologise. The reason this podcast has started late is because I lost track of time. So I'm so sorry. But thank you very much for tuning in and listening.
Of course, thank you. So we're gonna hop right in with who or what got you into wrestling.
Oh God! So I started watching wrestling when I was 7 years old, and that was down to my cousin back home in England when cable first came into existence. It was called Sky TV, and on a Saturday afternoon you would have NWA, then you would have WWF Superstars, and then you would have WWF Wrestling Challenge. So it was like 4 or 5 hours of content, and yeah, my cousin was like, "All right, watch this." So I was very lucky that I grew up with the blend of, okay, well, we got the workhorses, and then we got the characters and like larger than life uh, people. So I had a blend of both. But yeah, I was 7 years old when I first started watching wrestling.
No, that's great. That's great. I remember because I seen you at AXW. I was like, you know what's worth a shot? Because I seen you on NXT. I was like, let me just try to get him on the podcast. And then when you actually replied, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like having a whole like, yeah, he answered my DM. Like almost crying. I was like, that's crazy. It's amazing though.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Definitely. So if people don't know like about your experience on NXT, explain it. Like obviously you like went against like Matt Riddle. I was seeing some clips and stuff. I was like, yeah, we
Mhm.
got to wrestle Matt Riddle. I love
Yeah.
Matt Riddle.
Now I've been very very blessed with my career. I mean, to be fair, the matches I had with Matt Riddle outside of NXT were way better than what we had on TV. But just again to be able to work on TV, guys that I've worked on the Indies
Yeah.
and create magic. Oh, love it, absolutely love it. I've been so fortunate. Like I'm just a kid from London. I'm just a kid from London, England, and I got to literally travel the other side of the ocean and then travel the world of America. Like very very blessed.
No, definitely. It's great. Like you worked for the indies and then you worked in like the big I guess you could say like the big shows. So it's like cool you got to work in both and people get like you made fans on both. And like I remember I
Mm.
posted the episode and my friends were like, "Oh my god, how did you get Martin Stone on your podcast?" I'm like, just a little bit of magic.
You just asked me, and I went, okay.
Yeah, right. Just like that.
But just again, it's like I have a very unique story, and
Hmm.
it's a story that I would like to push out there. So a lot
Yeah,
of do's and don'ts.
definitely. So who trained you?
So I started training in around 2002, maybe 2001, and I trained with Tony Scarlo and Dino Scarlo. Tony Scarlo was the lightweight heavyweight champion of Britain during the World of Sport era. His son Dino is one of the greatest wrestlers I've ever had the opportunity of working with. And then I started to refine my skills, and I came to America, and I started to train with William Regal and Dave Taylor. Um, so, and then it was okay. I would do 3 months on, come back, 3 months on, come back, 3 months on, come back. So my foundation was Tony, but then my main trainer was Steve Regal. So
Okay. So how long would you say like you trained before you got like your first official match, like in front of a crowd?
well, the first time was 4 weeks, and I got thrown in a match, and it was god awful. I was like, nope, never again. So then after that, it was like, no, it'll be fine. I was like, nope, 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 nope. So I trained, I got good. I went to America, I came back, went to America, came back, went to America, came back, went to America, came back. And then 2003 was when I made my official debut, and I was like, okay, we can do something with this. So
Definitely. So, like, you learned from experience, like, the 4 weeks was not good enough. You're like, I
oh,
can't.
God, no, no, it wasn't good enough. No, definitely wasn't good enough.
But obviously, you progressed over time and you became a great wrestler that everyone looks up to. So, it's cool.
Yeah. So,
So,
it worked out. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So, if people don't know, are you like a baby face or a heel?
I started my career off as a heel.
Okay.
Back home in England, I was a heel. The first promotion that gave me my big break was IAPW UK, and at the time they were booking a lot of high flyers and stuff like that, which I had no problem with. And the promoter went, "How about you just come out and you shit on people that do high flying?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, really?" He went, "Let's just see what happens." I was like, "Okay." So I
Yeah.
came out and destroyed two guys that were, they were having a really good match. So I was just like, I've got to run in on this. I was like, this is good. Like, let them finish the match. He went, no, just run in and stop it. I was like, this match is so good. He went, just run in and stop it. I was like, oh. So I ran in, stopped it, threw them out, hit my deal and stuff like that, and said, hey, wrestling is not about gymnastics. It's about wrestling. It's about being able to fight. And that was the first promo that I cut, and that was 2005, I think. I think it was 2005. And then after that, I was blessed with the opportunity of working Samoa Joe, who at that point in time was on his TNA X Division run of not being beaten.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
cool.
the way the match was booked, it went to a time limit draw. And that was the match where everyone turned around and said, who's Martin Stone? Wait, hang on, who's that? And that was the match that made me. So I can't credit Samoa Joe enough to give me the platform to be able to make myself, because he literally helped me through everything in that match. So
Definitely. No, definitely. So, like, you've had your taste of like the indies, you've had your taste of like the big show, I guess you could say. Like, do you prefer being in the indies or do you miss like being on NXT and like WWE as itself?
that's a tough question. So the grandest stage of them all is WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd always said to myself, if I'm not good enough to get there, I will call it a day.
Yeah.
And I got good enough to get there. So I had no complaints. I love the creative freedom of the independents.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. It's like, okay, well, we're just going to do this and blah, 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 blah. But then there's also a part of me that then kicks in and goes, yeah, but hey, guess what? You got to work for the card and you got to do this and that and blah, blah, blah. So just, it's not even really comparing it. Just, I've been so lucky to have worked the indies, to have worked phenomenal guys on the indies, but then to have gone to NXT and then learned from some of the greatest coaches, the greatest wrestlers in the world, and just pick their brains and take what they said and do this and do that and throw it at the wall and pull off what sticks. Like, so just, I can't really put that, I can't say there's like one that's better than the other. Just
Yeah.
I've just been so fortunate.
Definitely, definitely. So what would you say is like your favorite part about wrestling, whether it's the moves, the fan, the traveling?
Um, to be able to take a crowd on a roller coaster ride. So for me, my perfect moment was take over Chicago 3, when it was myself and Oni Lorcan against Undisputed Era, which was Roddy and Kyle. We came out and got booed out the building. completely booed out the building. But then halfway through the match, the crowd started to get behind us. And then by the end of it, it literally became Rocky. We became the underdogs that everybody wanted to cheer for. And I still haven't watched that match back because I know I will rip my performance apart. But that night was so special to me. So to be able to say that, hey, we went out to a hostile crowd and then halfway through, they started booing the heels and cheering the baby faces. Pro wrestling magic.
Definitely. So like you kind of said like you used to be a heel, but now you're a face. Do you tend to like ever watch your videos back or like your old matches and be like a self-critic and be like, I could have done that better, or I could have changed?
Oh, all the time. If I watch my stuff back now, I will rip it apart and I'll be like, wow, I'm really bad. But then someone else will watch it and be like, no, dude, you're good. I was like, oh, I didn't do this right and that. And they'll be like, wait, what? Yeah, no, just now it's like I try to relax, but I still watch my stuff. I'm like, ugh. I always look for what I did wrong. I never look for what I did good.
Yeah.
Because if you look for what you did good, me personally, just my opinion, you're not going to be able to progress and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can look at your stuff that's terrible and be like, oh, maybe if I change this and do that, and again, I wish I'd come up in the days when you'd be in a car with 3 other vets and I was the green guy and they'd be like, hey, kid, you shouldn't have done this, but that was good, but maybe do this. I'd have loved to have had that experience, but just, I wanted to be the best that I could. So just, I ripped my stuff apart, which is now why I'm like, I can't watch my stuff because I'm going to be awful. So
I kind of feel that. Like I'll watch the podcast back and I'll be like, oh, why did I say that? Or like I could have said that.
yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. Yeah, just like, maybe I should have done this instead.
Yeah, definitely. So you said like your favorite part about wrestling. What would you say is like the hardest part for you?
Now or coming up?
In general, whatever.
Professional wrestling is a grind.
Mm-hmm.
It's a grind. If you're not prepared to miss anniversaries, birthdays, kids' first birthdays, christenings, family stuff. If you're not prepared for that, this is going to be a harsh reality. Again, the business is different, but if you genuinely, truly want to make it, you have to give yourself over to this business 100%. And I've done that. And I now have 2 ex-wives. So I know the struggle of, hey, don't do this, don't do that. But it's professional wrestling. It's a grind. So you need to know what you are signing up for. When you're like, oh, I've watched wrestling on TV, I can go do that. But do you really know what you're signing up for?
I think you're one of the most like realist wrestlers ever. Every wrestler I've interviewed, they're like, it's fun, just do it. But then you're like,
no, it is fun. Hey, trust me, you know what? So again, on paper, I can say, wow, I was in NXT and I did this and I did that, but it didn't end how I wanted it to. It's not fair, blah, blah, blah. I've had an absolute whale of a time.
Definitely. Like, it's fun, but like, there's stuff you'll have to.
Yeah. Yes, it didn't end up how I wanted it to, but guess what? I'm not bitter. God, no. Like, I've had an absolutely amazing time. So it is what it is.
Right? You live and you learn.
Yes, exactly.
So if a younger fan came up to you and was like, I really like you, I've seen you on TV, and I want to do what you're doing, what advice can you give them?
I would tell them to find a very, very, very reputable school, someone that has done something that you can say, oh, that was a dude that did this or that, and then basics. Don't worry about trying to, oh, but I need to do a Rana and then I need to throw you out the ring and then do a dive and this and that. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that style at all. But you need to have a solid foundation of basics so that no matter what, you can just go out there and just work. That's the only thing I've got for people. Just find someone who's done something, learn the basics, then sprinkle in what you want to do.
Definitely.
Funny that it all comes down to Bruce Lee's philosophy of Jeet Kune Do, which was absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, add what is essentially your own. If you can just throw all of that in to pro wrestling, perfect.
Exactly. So like obviously you've been in a lot of you wrestled in a lot of places. Do you like ever find yourself to be like a fan too and be like, oh my god, I really like that person? Or
Of course,
yeah.
Every single wrestler that comes into wrestling is a fan. I'm a super fan. Like, there's so many people I love watching. I love watching Cody. I'm the biggest mark for Brock Lesnar. Like Brock is amazing. Like, I love watching Brock, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. I love watching Hunter. Like, there is so many people that I'm just like, I love watching Finlay. I love watching. I hate to say this because I hope it doesn't get me cancelled. I love to watch Chris Benoit. Eddie Guerrero. There's so many people that just legit, like Kurt Angle. So for instance, last night I was watching Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21. One of the best matches I've ever watched. I'm just like, why did I not like? Just I'm a fan of wrestling, and guys that are in the business shouldn't shy away from. Hey, guess what? You were a fan how we started out. I was a fan from 7 years old. Does that mean I'm not like worthy of being written? No.
Yeah.
We all started out as fans, and I hate the fact that people scrutinize fans and say, "Oh, well, you're a mark." Like, shush. Like, we all started out as fans. We all started out as fans.
Exactly.
So let's just stop that nonsense and let's all just enjoy wrestling and go from there.
Exactly. Whether it's promoters, wrestlers,
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I was like, I'm not a fan of wrestling. I'm just here to work. In my head, I'm like, no, you started as a fan. That's why you got involved.
100%. Yes, of course. It doesn't matter if they only watched one match and it was Hulk Hogan doing a big boot and a leg drop, and it left an impression.
Exactly.
And that's why people were like, "Oh, wrestling," but I'm not a fan. No, shush. I'm not a fan.
You're like, I don't even hear it.
Yeah.
So my dad is a super, super big fan of you. So he's in the chat chanting your name because that's what my dad does.
All I can see is Stone. Oh God. Thank you.
If you ever wrestle at any more like PA shows, you'll hear me and him. We are
okay. Cool. Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
So, how do you feel about like intergender wrestling, male versus female?
It has its place. I'm trying to think. I've done maybe 2 intergender tag matches. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Earphone come out. Sorry. It has its place on a card if it's done correctly. Yeah. And the art of doing intergender tag wrestling or doing an intergender singles match is hard. Do I think I could do it? I don't know. For me personally, I don't know if I could do it. I've done 2 tag matches, but I wasn't really in And I had a partner that was just like, oh, I've got it. We'll do this and this and this. And he made it fireworks. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it has its place. It just needs to be done correctly and not just, oh, we have a girl versus a guy and they're just going to beat the shit out of each other. Like, you can build to a story so it means something.
No,
So
exactly.
that's, and again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, not one bit. Because if it's, I mean, look at China back in the day. You know, dudes would come in, she'd duck one and pick them up and slam them or power bomb or whatever she was doing. So if it's done right, it's perfect. But I've not been in that position to do that, so I can't really say if it's like a good thing or a bad thing. So
Oh yeah. So with that being said, how do you feel about like hardcore deathmatch style wrestling?
you know what? What show was it? There was. I'm trying to think. I think it was. This might have been 3 months before I got signed, and I was at a GCW show in New Jersey, and I'd never experienced GCW. I didn't know what it was. All I remember was the opening match was Eddie Kingston against I can't remember the guy's name. I'm very sorry for that. Very, very sorry. But it was a really good match. Really good match. So I've been on the afternoon show for Beyond Wrestling and I worked John Silver. And we had a really, really good match. Oh, so I was super pumped and happy. And it was like, okay, cool. I'm going to watch wrestling. So the opening match was Kingston against, I feel so bad. I can't remember the guy's name. Such a good match. And then after that, it was like light tubes and like shopping carts full of like deathmatch stuff and everything like that. And I was just like, oh my God. But every single match built on that show in terms of death, they built to the biggest bump, which is wrestling storytelling. So would I personally go and jump through a batch of light tubes? Absolutely not. Do I have respect for people that can tell a story, can put their complete body, mind, and soul on the line for those shows and matches? 100%. Like, just, I have a lot of respect for guys that can, all right, cool. This is a death match. Oh, we're just going to hit each other with this. No. We need it to make sense.
No, yeah.
So, as much as deathmatch wrestling gets shat on, like people are like, oh, that's the real good ones can tell stories, which that's professional wrestling. We tell stories.
No,
So, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, like last night I had an episode. I was like, it's for some people, like the hardcore matches, but it's not for everyone. Like, if you want to put your body through that, hey, it's on you. But you will not see me going through light tubes, tables.
Yeah, of course. So my thing about professional wrestling is we are the circus. Professional wrestlers are under the banner of a circus. You have your tightrope walkers, you have your lion tamers, you have your clowns, you have your conductees, you have your there's something for every single person. So just because what I like watching, but you don't like watching, doesn't mean we're both right or wrong.
Yeah.
Professional wrestling is subjective, and that's what I really hope people can try and get behind. Because you see so much stuff like, oh, I don't like that. He's back. He's come back. Yeah, but he's trying to make it better. No, but dude, just it's subjective. How about we just enjoy professional wrestling? Doesn't matter what it is. How about we just enjoy the art form that is professional wrestling, and we can all have a good time. We can all have a beer, have a shot, whatever, and just enjoy what we're watching and have no scrutiny. But
exactly.
you know,
definitely. People say it all the time. Wrestling is like all the different flavors of ice cream. You get different flavors. You end up liking what you want.
Just because I like strawberry and you like vanilla doesn't mean we're both wrong or right. It is what it is, you know?
Exactly. So if you were to get a call later today, in a week, in a month, said from WWE asking for you to come back, would you take that opportunity? Or do you?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So, do you think it's gonna be an age thing or like a mindset thing that causes you to be permanently done with wrestling, or like retire?
I'm in my 40s, but at this point in time, I'm at my strongest. I'm at my fittest than I have been because obviously I had 2 years out with, so I originally got hurt in 2021. I think it was March when it was myself and Oni against Finn Balor and Karrion Kross. We had a tag match. That was the first time I got hurt.
Wow.
I rehabbed for 6 months, came back, did the last main event on that was the original NXT Gold brand against Wesley and Nash Carter. I can't remember. What was it? TM? I can't remember their tag name. But it was Wesley and Nash Carter. It was myself and Oni against them. A week later, I was working a PC live show, which is when the vets get in the ring with the guys that are not as experienced to help them get reps and stuff like that. Just you pay it forward. I've come up. I've got no problem working green guys or guys that have not been in the job that long. And he unfortunately broke my collarbone on the same side that I'd had my surgery on. So then I was out for, okay, you'll be out for 12 weeks. Then I had multiple complications. And then I got released in January. So that was September of 2021. By January 2022, I've been released. So do I want to go back? Do I want to go back for a company that maybe didn't care about me? I don't know.
Okay.
I would have to wait until that. If that option ever came up again, I would have to wait to see how I felt. So
yeah, and that's fine. You do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
Because even if you didn't go back, you got the indies. The indies love you.
Again, it could be one of those things. I could sit there and go, well, I gave my blood, sweat, and tears for 4 years, and F them, and no, I'm not doing it. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know. If I got the call to be like, hey, do you want to come back? I don't know. And that's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's kind of indifferent, which is probably annoying for a lot of people because I'm sure there's people that are going to try and take transcripts from this and, Danny Burch said this or blah, but no, so.
I get it. Yeah. So you wrestle like a bunch of different places, but do you have like a dream venue that you wish to wrestle in that you haven't got to already?
That would be the O2 Arena back home in London, England. So I first got signed initially in 2010, which was at the O2 Arena in London. But then I had complications, and then it took a while, and then finally I got here. But if I could go home and wrestle in London, as the only thing I ever wanted to do working for this company was to be able to go home to my hometown. And I'm sorry, excuse me.
It's okay.
To be able to go home and get that hero's welcome. That was all I ever wanted.
Definitely. That's so great. It's good. Like you got emotional. It's good. Like
yeah.
It's very, I mean, it's like it's very close to you, and it's something that you cherish and wish. So, no, dreams do come true. So,
Yeah.
good stuff. That's great. So, have you wrestled anywhere that like really stood out to you, and you were like, I would always come back and wrestle here whenever I got the option to?
Oh, London was always a hotbed. Germany was always a hotbed. Getting the chance to do Pennsylvania a few weeks ago, I that blew my mind because there is so much history in that building. Like that was trying to think his name. You had the first Piper's Pit was filmed in the corner. Then you had the swerve with Bruno getting turned on by his student and stuff like that. Just there's so much history in that building. Like Hogan's been there, Andre's been there, and I remember coming out. I came out to my music and stuff like that, and everyone was receptive. But then I stood in the middle of that ring and saw the lights come down. I was like, I genuinely know nothing about wrestling. It completely humbled me. Like it was Hamburg, PA, right? That's yeah. Just that, and again, sorry, Larry Zbyszko turning on Bruno. Just there is so much history in that building. And then I'm hoping they release it, but there's one point I get in the ring and I literally just look up at the lights and I'm just like, wow, that just completely blew my mind. Like, who has been here, who has paved the way for people like me to be able to be a professional wrestler and make it mainstream and make wrestling mean something. Just, yeah, so there's there. Chicago will always be a special place for me because obviously the first match we had at Takeover. But yeah, London, Hamburg, Chicago. Right now, those are my three favorite places that I've worked.
Definitely. So like it's cool that like it's always good. Everyone always dreams about going like on the big time shows and like Madison Square Garden. But like at the same time, it's good to like go to like the home bases like Hamburg. And it's like it doesn't have to be something so crazy, but like once you press it there, it's like
so there was maybe a time period where I was so wrapped up in trying to like, oh, I need to do more, I need to do more, I need to do more, and I've got to be bigger and this and that. And I stopped to smell the roses. And there was a few places that I ended up wrestling at that I was just like, well, we're just doing this and that and blah, blah, blah. And then like literally 3 months later, I found out like it was like a mainstay for British wrestling TV. And I'm like Jesus, like, I completely missed. I completely took it for granted. It's just another venue. I'm just trying to do this and just. My best advice for guys breaking out: enjoy every single minute because, up until June of last year. So June last year, I went in for my final shoulder surgery. I thought I was done.
yeah.
I thought I was done. So I'm just like, wow, my career has ended without anything good. Not so my career ended on a training show, and I was just like, wow. I never really got to. I was like, yeah, but what about these shows? And I'm just like, then I started to think about the tours that we did and stuff like that, and I was like, I never went to go and see any like monuments or, I was in Buffalo, New York 3 times, and I never went to go and see the big. I never went to go and see Niagara Falls, and I'm like, why didn't I do that?
Definitely. Like it's good like you can be a wrestler and have like those experiences. But like you shouldn't miss your outside life just because
you shouldn't miss life experiences.
Exactly.
And there's been a few times I've done that, which I kicked myself for. But luckily I'm not done. So hopefully I can rectify that and be like, you know what? I want to go and see the steps at the Philadelphia Spectrum. I want to be able to go and run the Rocky Steps. I want to be able to go and look at Niagara Falls and stuff like that. Like all stuff that I've just, I'm in Philly, whatever. We've got the show. I've got to do this and that, and just there's been a few times that I regret where I really didn't stop, take a breath. Where are we? Okay, let's go and look at this. So.
Right. Nothing always like even as a wrestler, you don't have to do everything wrestling related. You can take
of course, yeah.
So yeah, it's cool like that. So in the chat, my dad goes and says, well, at that time, don't forget they were under different management. Now they're on Triple H, and he actually cares about the wrestlers. I don't know.
Mean, again, I don't know. I don't work there, so I don't know.
Right.
I can only say that I guess morale is better, but just I'm not there, so I can't really say yes or no about that right now.
Yeah. And so we got a wrestler in the chat. His name is Lucius Crow. He's scary. Sounds like that, and he went through about like the promoter not caring, but he's been through some stuff. So
my advice to Lucius would be, cream rises to the top. Keep doing what you're doing. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You can move on. But don't try and be bitter. Don't like, oh, well, I'm getting held back. Work your ass off. And at least then you can give, if you work your ass off, you can turn around and say, well, it didn't work out because of that guy, because I gave it my all. Don't be like, well, maybe if I'd have tried harder, it might have worked. Can't do that.
There. He says, would you go back? And he kind of touched on this. He said he doesn't know. He's neutral. Yeah, he doesn't know.
I genuinely don't know. I again, call me in 2 weeks' time, I might have a different answer. Call me tomorrow, I might have a different answer. But right now, I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, you'll just pick up a phone call and they'll be like, yeah, you want to come back? You'll be like, no words, just
right now, I don't know. Like, yeah, I genuinely don't know right now. I really don't. Yeah.
That's okay. So you kind of said like you came out to your music. Is there anything you do before you come out the curtain or come out to your music? Like warm up.
Yeah, I'll warm up and do the normal stuff, and especially with my shoulder, I have to make sure that I've got my right shoulder good and warmed up. Just because, not that it's going to be a problem, but for shoulder surgeries, just in my head, I'm like, well, I need to make sure I'm good and stuff like that. But I always tell my mum that I love her, and I always ask my grandma to look over me. Yeah.
That's great. I love that. So my dad says, okay, so Lucius Crow says, I feel the same way in my situation or any situation I've ever been in. But my question to you, would you be, if you would go back in your perspective, what will change? What will happen to change in order for you to come back?
I don't know. So at the time of getting released, and that was at the time, this isn't now, I felt like I was a gas station receipt that got screwed up and thrown out the window, and yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was mad. Now, I genuinely don't know what it would take to have me say F off or yes, I'll come back. I genuinely don't know. And it sounds vague, and I know he's obviously trying to dig, but it is what it is. I genuinely don't know.
And that's okay.
I don't know.
And that's okay, because I said,
if he doesn't like it, there's not really much I can say about it, but get over it.
And that's okay. Like I said, even if you never go back, you always got the indies, or if you just would have
if I don't go back, again, so let's say that by the end of this year, I work the Indies and I do whatever, and I say, you know what, I'm done. I'm gonna retire and call it quits. I've had an amazing career. I have done more. I have done a lot more than what a lot of people are gonna do or can do. There's no there's no resentments. I'm not saying I'm going to retire at the end of this year, but just if I'm just like, ugh, that's it, I'm done, or whatever. Just I've had a very blessed career. But I never thought that when I first started training and taking bumps and learning to tie up, like to link up or lock up or whatever, I never would have dreamed that I would have eventually got to America and been one half of the tag champions for the #1 wrestling company in the world. If you'd have told me that 20 years ago when I first started, I'd have been like, shut up. What do you mean? I never, ever would have dreamed that. But it happened for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I can't fault what's happened to me. I really can't.
No, yeah. And I say it all the time. I'm like, if you would ask 6-year-old me, I would be like, yeah, I want to be a wrestler. Now, 16, I'm like, no. But
Yeah.
things always change, so you don't know what could happen.
Exactly. But again, you're still in the wrestling business.
Exactly.
So just because you're not a wrestler doesn't mean you're not in the wrestling business. You know, it works out completely like it's there's so many things that can be done in wrestling, but you're still in the wrestling business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so and again, as I always say to someone, if you can make a living in wrestling without having to take bumps, I'm all for it.
Definitely.
My body is broken down and battered. So if you can make a living not having to take bumps, yes.
And I say it all the time. I'm like, I think I'll stick to being a manager, get to yell at people, be like, come on, let's go, move.
Exactly. But again, that's a lost art. Being a good like heel, valet, manager, that's a lost art. Like it's a lost art. If you can do that well, like, oh, I would love to work with someone that has a heel. You know, if I'm a babyface and I have someone that's a heel, and then they have a valet that's like, give me that all day long, because you're going to get so much more heat. Because then you have 3 people, 4 including the ref. You then have 4. You essentially have a tag match. That's a singles match to get the most amount of heat out of the match you have. Magic. It's magic. So like, when someone says to me, "Oh, I'm just I'm just a valet." No, you're not. Like, if you have a standard wrestling match, there is 3 people in the match: the guys that are wrestling and the ref. If you have a good ref, the match is going to be great. If you have a bad ref, it's going to be bad. So it's the same as having someone that has a valet on the outside. You now have 4 people. You can make magic. Like, there is no such thing as, but I'm just this. You are a part of the job. You are a part of the business.
Definitely. So when you like call it quits and you're done wrestling, do you think you'll still be involved, whether it is like a manager or like commentary, or would you just step away?
I would like to be able to pass on what I've learned, but there's so many wrestling schools out there. I genuinely don't know if there would be interest.
Yeah.
So for me, maybe I would just jump on my horse and ride off into the sunset. I don't know. Genuinely don't know. But I love teaching. So it would be, for me, it would be great. I don't want my own wrestling school. I don't want something that's like Stone Academy or what. I would love to teach for somebody else.
Yeah.
And just be, oh, wow, that's Martin. Not, oh, my God, we're at the Birch Academy of... No.
I get it.
Just, yeah. I would love to teach at a school for someone once I'm done, but in terms of my own school, no.
I get it. I get it. So, do you have any upcoming shows that you'll be wrestling at or be in at?
There's CCW this weekend. At the end of the month, I have AML in North Carolina. Then the start of July, I am in Tennessee. The middle of July, I'm in Kansas. I'm super busy right now, which I'm so happy for because I'd been off of TV for 2 years, and it took me a long time to get cleared. So I genuinely was like, is anybody going to remember me? I guess we're going to have to start all over. But just I'm very humbled right now that people are like, hey, Martin Stone, can we book you? Can you do the show? Can you do? I'm so humbled. So
That's great. That's great. So, where can people find you on social media to give you a follow?
the best place to find me on is Twitter, and I am at Strong Style Brit. And the same on Instagram. I am at Strong Style Brit, same handle. I'm more active on Twitter than Instagram. I'm not a fan of Instagram. I know a lot of people crap on Twitter, but just the last few days I've been playing some fun games of, hey, who's your Mount Rushmore of professional? Oh, this is a question I'll ask you right now. So,
Okay.
who is your Mount Rushmore?
Oh.
So the four heads. This is coming from a Brit, so I don't know how it all worked out. Who is your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling?
I'll have to say.
There's no criteria. It's just your opinion.
Matt Riddle.
Yep.
Seth Rollins, Kurt Angle, and AJ Lee.
Perfect. Done. That's great. So mine was Steve Austin, Razor Ramon, Kurt Angle, and Fit Finlay.
And that's great.
And I'm just trying to, and I was just trying to get people engaged, and because Twitter can be so like, this show's bad and it's not booked right, and and I'm like, let's all just enjoy wrestling. So I was just trying to throw it out there.
Right.
And
cool
in the next few weeks, I'm going to start throwing out, okay, so who's your Mount Rushmore of tag teams? Who's your Mount Rushmore of heels? Who's your Mount Rushmore of female wrestlers? So I'm just going to try and do something fun so that the community can get together and be like, hey, guess what? It doesn't matter if you prefer AEW over WWE, or if you prefer the Indies over AEW and WWE. Just realize that everybody likes wrestling. We're in a community where everyone loves wrestling. We're all entitled to our opinion, but it doesn't mean if it's right or wrong, or who cares? Let's just channel flick. Oh, I'm watching this match. Okay, cool. Boom, bang. Okay, awesome. Click. Let's just enjoy wrestling and love it. For this is how I was as a fan. I was never I was never like, I can only watch this one. Like, I watched everything from Japan, from Mexico, to the Indies, to WWE, to TNA, to ECW, to WCW. I watched everything, and that made me a fan of wrestling. Like, there's stuff for everyone, so I would love it to go back to that.
Definitely.
Like, for me, if I had like okay, I'm going to take this out of my brain. What do you want to happen to wrestling? Let's have everybody just love wrestling and just watch it and just enjoy it and embrace it, and that's it. Yeah.
Exactly. Like if I have a friend and they're like, yeah, I don't watch wrestling, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't be your friend no more. Wrestling.
Well, just again, but just you'll get some people that are like, yeah, I watch wrestling, but literally it's on in the background and I don't watch it. It's like, well, you're not a wrestling fan, which is fine.
Yeah.
Go be, which I've got no problem with, but then don't sit there and then go, yeah, but it didn't make sense because of this and that. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, like you don't have to be a fan of it, but like if you're not, they'll end up watching.
If you're not a fan of it, don't sit there and critique it and say what needs to be better. Like, okay, I hate the stock market. because I am terrible at math. But I'm not going to go up to some dude at Wall Street and be like, maybe you shouldn't have like backed that bid. And they'd be like, dude, disappear, leave me alone. Oh, okay, cool. Can you see what I'm saying? Like, just it's the same thing. Yeah, stay in your lane, you know?
Right, exactly. So my dad has a question. He said, "Would we ever see you at PPW?" And PPW is a wrestling indie promotion in Pennsylvania, as well as AXW.
I would love to. If they want to reach out, I would absolutely love to, because doing that one show in Pennsylvania, I realized just how rabid the fans are and how appreciative the fans are of putting on good matches and working hard and stuff like that. So if there is any promotion that wants to reach out to me in the Pennsylvania area, please do. I would be so humbled and hopefully try and work something out.
Definitely. So do you have merch that people can purchase?
At shows, yes. I don't have. I really should get a pro wrestling tees, but I don't. I mean, I think there's a pro wrestling tees, but this was awful shirts from years ago, so don't go and buy those. Yeah, I really should try and work out like, okay, these are much better pictures and stuff like this. But
Yeah.
again, it kind of knocked me for six coming back. Like, so I got cleared, and I announced I got cleared. And then I started getting hit up by people, and I'm like, oh, I've got no merch. So just, I'm like, I have some random T-shirts. So just all I can say is I will take pictures of the shirts and 8x10s and put them on Twitter. And if anyone wants them, they can message me and we can figure it all out in terms of that. But yeah, I don't have an official store or anything like that, which I should. You know what? I'm going to make a promise to actually do that this weekend. So
there you guys go. So if you want to get your merch,
I will try and do that. But if not,
it's fine.
yeah,
Just DM.
if people want to DM me, again, because I'm not in this to try and sell merch and take people's money. I just want people to pay the price of admission for a ticket, watch my match and go, I thought wrestling was fake. I want to be able to suspend people's beliefs and illusions for however long I'm doing the match for. And as long as they walk out and go, oh, that Martin Stone, oh, wow. That's all I care about. So
Definitely. And
if people want shirts, DM me on Twitter and I will, and we can talk about it.
Exactly. And one last question. You kind of touched on it before, like stories are what makes like wrestling great. Do you prefer to have like storylines in wrestling, or do you just like do the random matches?
You need storylines.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of promotions.
100% you need a storyline. So again, this is just my personal opinion. I could be completely wrong. Cody Rhodes right now tore his pec, came back at Mania, and he came up short. Started he was about to have a tag match. Brock turned on him, came up short. Did the match with Brock, came up short. How can you not get behind someone that is now suffering hard times? Everybody's had hard times. Everybody has gone through a period when it's like, can I make rent this month? Can I buy food this month? Can I stop getting evicted this month? Everybody has gone through hard times. How can you not get behind that? And how can you not want to be able to go, I need a story because I need to see what's going on. So again, spot shows are great. You get brought in, you do your match, it is what it is. But give me a storyline any time of the day. Let me build on, if you want to book me as a heel or a babyface, like let's see what magic we can create with me in a storyline, and we'll go from there.
And I think like storylines are what brings the crowd in. Like you can have those like random matches, but like once you have a storyline going and like it continues going, that's
Yeah,
just
of course.
like what's happening also with like the Bloodline after the
Oh, the
pay-per-view.
greatest. That's literally been the. So I'm trying to think. When was the last time there was a storyline like that? I'm going to go back to like 2000. Oh, I'm going to sound so old. Probably before you were born. I'm going to go back to like 2002, 2003. That was the last time there was a storyline like that where it was, oh my, I have to fucking watch every single week. Like the Bloodline storyline has been amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like it that made me a fan again. And I literally got to a point like I didn't used to watch wrestling then. There was one random day I tuned in and then it was the Sami Zayn. Hey, Roman, it's fine. Jay's good. He's just not feeling very oozy.
My gosh.
And I lost it laughing because again, I've been around those guys.
Yeah.
And then, so just I know how that and I'm like, this is amazing. And literally from that point on, I have not stopped watching anything to do with the Bloodline.
It's
Like it made me a fan again.
It's definitely something I really enjoy. I mean, I'm not a fan of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, but that's just me.
The underdogs? Why not?
I don't know. I don't know.
You like the heels, didn't you? Just like, yeah, I'll take the heels. There we go. All right, cool. Hate the baby faces. I'll take the heels.
I mean, I'm not really a Roman fan either. I'm more of just the Usos, but
okay, no. Hey, again, different flavors of ice cream doesn't mean that you're right or I'm wrong or whatever. Yeah, it's wrestling. Okay, so who do you like the most? Who right now is your favorite? Apart from Matt Riddle, before you say Matt Riddle.
You already knew. Probably the Usos, Matt Riddle. I don't know. I'm more of like an indies person. I watch.
No, that's fine. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Everybody can love pro wrestling. It doesn't matter what pro wrestling you watch. That's awesome. I love it.
Definitely. I mean, Zelina Vega, I love her.
Yes.
She's another one.
Her breaking down, getting the reaction she got. Oh my God, I felt that. I was just like, oh. That was absolutely spectacular. That really was. Just for her to get that moment, I was just like, oh. I mean, I've known her husband for 15 years. So, so for her to get that reaction, I was just like, oh, Zelina, yes.
And I feel that, and that was her dream to wrestle there, and she that dream. Yep. So, wherever you guys have a dream, follow the dream.
100%.
Definitely. So thank you so much for coming on. It was fun.
Oh, anytime, sweetheart. Anytime.
Of course.
Absolute blast.
Yeah, and I hope to see you more. Hope to see you at more PA shows, Pennsylvania, PPW.
Put out the good word. Will do.
Have a great night.
You too, darling.